Hey everybody, and welcome to the for loop. And I'm going to go through a small series of just what I'm going to call programming knowledge. And so what I want to get started with is just sort of the basics and just little things, the information that you need to know to get started in programming. Let's say like you don't know anything about programming at all. This is going to be for you guys. And so the first couple of videos, if you guys are more advanced and you are familiar with some different programming languages and how they work, you're going to want to skip this series probably. And this is basically just for the novices, the noobs, if you will. And as you can see, I've got some notes here. And so, first of all, we're going to try and understand how a computer thinks. And once we understand how it thinks, then we'll be able to talk to it. So they call these things languages. And I mean, for good reason, because honestly, learning a different language is almost like learning Spanish or learning French or learning, there's tons and tons of languages that we all could learn. And so it's just like English. You have to learn, there's one called Java, Visual Basic. There's so internet languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And there's the C languages, C++ and C and C# probably. Anyways, there's more than that, and I won't begin to try and name them all because I don't know them all. But I know I know the main ones here, and so they all have certain things in common, and that's kind of what I want to cover today. And so these, as we go, I'm going to knock out, these are what we call commons, and I don't want to jump ahead, but I'll go ahead and explain this. A comment is a line that doesn't get read by the computer. So let's say the computer is reading through the line, so it reads this line, and then it reads this line. It's going to see these two backslashes here and go, oh, this is a comment, so I don't care about this line. I'm going to skip to the next line and not do anything that that line says. So like, let's say I write a bunch of gibberish that the computer understands, but if I'm coming back through my code and I can't understand it, then I'm going to put a comment up here that says gibberish or something like, something like that, so that it makes sense to me when I'm coming back and trying to figure out what in the world did I write here and why did I write this. And as you get more and more advanced, you'll understand why comments are so important, especially if you work with teams of people and they need to try and understand what you wrote. Alright, so let's get into the basics here. So all programs run on what we call a class, or all object-oriented programs run on a class. And this includes Java and Visual Basic and C#. And I can't think of any others, but I'm sure there's more. Anyways, object-oriented means we design an object, like let's say a basketball, for example, and then we have to tell the computer how to describe that object. And that brings me to my first point here, properties. So let's just go ahead and change the class name here to basketball so I can be consistent. So we have class basketball, which is our object, and we're going to have properties. So I'm just going to put this in parentheses. This is what I call pseudocode. And what that means is it's going to make sense to you and me when I'm developing this tutorial, but what I'm writing here is not going to make sense to any editor out there. So just bear with me here, but don't try and put this in your editor because the computer is going to be like, the computer's not going to understand, and it's just going to throw a bunch of errors and it's going to make you angry. Trust me, errors are the quickest way to make you angry. Okay, back to properties here. So let's say we want to say one of our properties is color. Let's say one of our properties is air pressure. One property is size. I'm not sure. Do they have size 4 and 5? I'm not sure. I better take that off. Let's say color, air pressure. Let's just go with those two properties for now because, as you can tell, I'm not real familiar with all the properties of basketball, or I can't think of them right now. So let's get going. So as you can see, I don't actually set the value for these. Later on, we're going to say, oh, the color is red or orange or blue or whatever fantastic color you want to choose for your basketball. And then, of course, air pressure is going to be 15, 16, 18, 25, whatever number you want. And then it's going to have a unit of LVS, or let's see, air pressure is what, pounds per square inch or something. Something like that. So that's our unit, pounds per square inch. And color is going to be a unit of string. So red string. If that makes sense to you. String just means like a grouping of letters. So every word in the dictionary is a string. That's what a computer calls a string. So if you want to give the computer a word and you want to tell it, hey, this is a word, or this is a sentence, or this is a paragraph, or this is a, I don't know, even probably a book you could probably put in there, you would say this is a string. So that's what we're going to say. We're going to say your property is color and it's a string. Your second property is air pressure, and guess what? It's going to be an int because it's going to be 25, 35, whatever. Alright, so now that we've gotten through kind of what a class is and through the properties, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the video, and next time hopefully we'll get through getter setters and possibly even get into some methods. So thanks for checking into the for loop, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.